Welcome to the Silver Jubilee Foundation Day celebration. I'm really overwhelmed with all the wishes, all the felicitation, all the love shown to the institution. We have been trying to find and invite everybody connected with the institution. So we've been looking through all the faculty who taught here in the past, faculty who were here for a short while and moved away to other institutions, past governing council members, other industry contacts from industry and academia, and whoever was we thought were well-wishers of the institute, we tried to reach out to them, and I started receiving messages over email of their, sometimes they're not able to come, their good wishes and so on. So it's been an experience, and you see that it's the love is towards the institution and the students and the faculty and what the work we do, and that's where we stand here to celebrate 25 years of IIIT Hyderabad. In 1998, September 2nd, classes started here. The campus did not look anything like this. They just had 2 or 3 white buildings, the government constructed buildings. And I'm glad there are at least a few alumni who attended that class who are here today. And to relive their memories tomorrow, Professor C.N. Kaul took that class that day. He's taking a class tomorrow morning again for all the alumni. So academic institutions are products of the whole society, especially an institution like IIIT Hyderabad, which was, I like to say, it was catalyzed by the state government. The state government wanted such an institution to come into being, but they did not follow the normal route of creating, funding, creating a university using the state government funding. They said, we will give you all the support, but you should have a academic and administrative structure that you can grow on your own terms, which means no funding from the government. So even the very first salaries were paid from some resources that were generated. There were 5 plus 1, 6 corporates who were asked to be partners. They gave a corpus fund each of 30 lakhs, princely sum today and those days. And that's the corpus we started with. But, I think there were, R. Chandrasekhar and Chandrababu Naidu are credited with the conceptualizing this, but Ajay Sani, who's sitting here, he ran it every day. He talks about, meeting. He tells the story that there's one Professor C.N. Kaul he heard. Professor C.N. Kaul, who's going to take the class tomorrow. He is from Jammu and Kashmir. He went to, I don't know, after bachelor's or something, he went to IIT Kharagpur. He did his master's and PhD there and continued as faculty member in IIT Kharagpur. Incidentally, in my very last semester at IIT Kharagpur, he taught me a course on optimization methods. This man lives 50 years or 45 years in Kharagpur and decides to settle in Doyen's colony, which is hardly 3 kilometers from here. So Ajay Sani says this is stars aligning in favor of IIIT Hyderabad. Then Ajay Sani also said he heard there is this professor, IIT Kanpur professor, who for some reason decided to create an IIT Kanpur Hyderabad, University of Hyderabad cell right next door. So he went one day to meet Rajiv Sangal in his lab in the University of Hyderabad to talk about the concept of the university. It went on. And then after 4 hours in the lab or something, Rajiv said, why don't we let's go home and have a cup of tea and talk there. So Rajiv had a home close by here. And they left, Ajay Sani left past midnight, I'm told. And that's how this whole thing started. And but it was not clear when an institution like this with no guaranteed funding, with a model that is unknown in India, how long it will survive and how it will survive, right? And that's the tenacity of all of us. The leadership, Narendra Ahuja was roped in as the first director. Even before that, they got Professor Raj Reddy as the chancellor or chair of the governing council. Raj Reddy, and he put together a small team of search committee, and they recruited Narendra Ahuja as the first director, and couple of, and Professor Rajiv Sangal, he still was formerly in IIT Kanpur, but sitting in University of Hyderabad. He was involved with the design of the academic program and everything else, along with Narendra for several years. After Narendra wasn't able to move here full time and devote the time that required for an institute after 5 years of the institution, he stepped down and Rajiv Sangal became the director. And we all had joined by then, and the strength in ones and twos, we started getting good faculty members, very committed faculty members, and even better students. We all wonder, in 1998, the first batch of students, apparently the entrance exam to IIIT was held after the JEE and all the other entrance exams were over. So they were wondering, what kind of people you'll get? All the good ones have gone away and the remaining. So the entrance exam, they ranked 100 people and they had 50 seats, so they invited 50 people. Now that was the confidence of the group. And I don't know how many came. 38 came and joined in that. 39 came and joined. So they invited. They said we need 50 people. So they invited 11 more, the next 11, and all of them came and joined. And you wonder, there was no university status. There was no way to, so we should ask Saujanya or Praveen and some of them who are part of that batch, who must be there somewhere, what made them take the risk. So they are the real risk takers. When I joined as a faculty member, I have far less risk than a student. So that's the team that built the institution. Now, as faculty members do the teaching, the research, etc., but the students, they have to do the hard work. And we have, with the hard work and good wishes and good support from everyone, we have reached where we are. We have made a name. We are counted among the top institutions in the country and recognized well for our research and other outlook globally. So this is, we said 25th anniversary, we should celebrate in a big way. So we started celebration exactly a year ago with one kickoff lecture by Dr. G.N. Rao of L.V. Prasad. And then we had several events over the years. In the last 2 months, we had many events, and we will have many more events in the coming month. And as I was telling somebody, the last few days feel like I'm conducting 3 marriages at the same time. Too many things happening. Even though there's a very able team managing things, there's too many things happening. So 25 years is a major milestone for an institution. But if you compare with the human scale, this is like a human being, a child properly graduating from high school. An education institution is a time. Now, at 25 years, we are at a stage that comparable to a child just probably graduating out of high school, has done a few things, is capable of doing a few things, but still the whole potential, the college education, what you're going to be, is still ahead of you. So that's the stage, and we are, as all of us, I speak on behalf of the larger IIIT community, we are looking forward to the journey ahead. We have to obviously not just keep the current pace, which means the velocity is equal. We should make sure the acceleration is as much as it used to be. Maybe the third derivative should be increasing and fourth derivative should be increasing, so that institution climbs and climbs and the climbing rate is higher and so on. That's the hope we have. Now that we have achieved something and we have a name, we hope we will have support, even enhanced support from the broader society, and we can make our dreams, we can realize our dreams. I also appeal and greet all the alumni. There are a lot of them joining online, I'm told. I greet all of them and other well-wishers who are not able to join here but are online. And we need support of all the alumni to take this institution forward. And when alumni does well, we also do well. I mean, we also get the credit. So the institution like this ultimately belong to the alumni. You want the alumni to come back as faculty members, alumni to come back as governing council members, alumni to be a governing council chair some other time, and definitely the director a few years down the line, etc. And that way you will, alumni will carry the institute forward forever and forever. So I welcome all of you to this event and thank every one of you, the people on stage here and people who are gathered here, for for coming here and for this occasion and sharing the joy with us, as well as for your continued support. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor, for your insights. I now invite Mr. Srini Raju, one of the earliest founding members of IIIT Hyderabad's Governing Council, to address the gathering and to guide us through his vision for the next 25 years on behalf of the Governing Council.
Good afternoon to all of you. And those of you on the online watching us from around the world. No, she's given the introduction that this is one of the early members of the Governing Council. So I was representing one of the first founding members at that time. So since then I left that organization and came back as on my own, representing the new company that I have founded 23 years ago. Since then, I've been here. I get reappointed every time my term gets over. This is very, for me, though I've been part of another 4 universities subsequently. I joined them, but this is for me the closest to my heart. So that's what brings me back here. So I come here at least 10 times a year, at least 10 times, maybe sometimes, maybe probably 15, 20 days in a year I spend on this campus, primarily working with PJN and other people. But that's a kind of affinity that I have for IIIT Hyderabad. I'd like to share some things from my perspective. I'm in a way outsider, though I've been the founding member and the board member, that how we have performed over the last 25 years. I think producing the high quality graduates for the tech industry, that was the main agenda at that time. That's why we had 5 tech companies as our founding members. So did we dream of creating a lot of other things that we are talking now and we're going to talk for the future? That was not the main goal. Main goal was create the high quality resources for the tech industry. I think in that context, we have probably exceeded. Today, the graduates from this university get paid an average salary more than anybody else in the country. So not so much salary is not the only measure, but the importance, various research centers of these institutions, companies across the world, all the top tech companies have presence in Hyderabad. They recruit primarily from IIIT Hyderabad. So this is a place for them. So then other question people ask is, okay, like IITs, had a lot of other CEOs, founders, and various other things. So what about you? I think our intention was not like an typical IIT where, I was one of those guys who joined there as a civil engineer, but never practiced for a day. Many people do like that. They go there, they become IAS officers, they become business people, consultants, whatnot. The intention here was from the beginning that during a self-selection process, those who want to be in tech industry make a difference for technology. That's very important, isn't it? We all join as computer science students, go and become something else. It's a kind of wasting of that emphasis that the institution was putting on that. Here, the intention was to supply the technology resources for the world, and that's been happening. So I think in that context of it, we have achieved our objective. And of course, the next challenge for that in that context is that earlier it's like skills. Now it's like problem solving. Very often people say, oh, AI is coming, that is coming, this is coming, will there be jobs? In fact, somebody, when we had the NAAC audit team coming here, so they called few of us, they wanted to interact with. The first question was that, what will happen to all these students when tomorrow the demand goes away? I said, demand may go away for some programming languages. Demanding is not going away for need for technology. The technology will become more and more in every aspect of the life. So hence, you need people who understand, who know how to do the problem solving. That's what will be taught here. The people from here will be in great demand going forward. Yes, if people who have little lesser skills they have to change their way of learning things and solving problems. But for a IIIT graduate, I don't think one has to be really concerned. And because we are always seeing the trends in the market and adjusting ourselves accordingly. The other aspects being that we said that this is going to be a research-driven institution. What it means, research-driven institution. So most of our guys, when they graduate from here, they're gone. There are very few people who want to do master's, PhD programs. Then how do you do the research? So this institute has invented, I would say adopted in a way of, having the undergraduate students participating in research programs. Now with the dual degree programs, at least they are here for a couple of years doing research. So, being a little bit more innovative in achieving an objective of trying to build research teams here. In research teams, have we accomplished to the extent that we really wanted? Not there yet. There are few areas where we are recognized among the top 2-3 teams in the country. Now, next goal for us is that being there in the world. So when you do a Googling, will you be there in somebody says language technologies, in a Google, will we be there in the first page of that? In the institutions that have the competency in those areas, we should figure it out that should be our goal. I mean, 25 years is a long way, but I would say in 10 years itself, few of those chosen areas, we have to have the size of the teams and the competency where we are recognized in the world saying, okay, this is the topic. I think these are the 10 best schools in the world. That's on the research side of it. We need to choose what are those few of them, put a lot of resources behind them, and then be counted in the world. The other aspect, which is very often we get asked by the politicians and the bureaucrats, they say it's good, people get jobs from here, they go around the world, but we have responsibilities for this country and for this state. If you all study here and go away, who the hell is going to solve our problems here? That gets asked to us very often. So to address that problem, that we want to take up few areas again, where we create digital solutions to solve the large scale problems. I may give a couple of examples that, we have already seen the results in the past few years, what happened with Aadhaar and then UPI now. And I'm just sharing with you next 10 years, and we have Mr. J. Satyanarayana Garu sitting here in front of me that he was just sharing few things with me when he was talking there. They are thinking big. And then I think, sir, maybe next 5-10 years time in the areas of healthcare, education, agriculture area, we'll be developing a lot of new stacks or modules or platforms, whatever it is, similar to an UPI kind of, thing, that the solutions for large scale applications and bringing in the value for the society at large. That would be our next goal for the next, I would say 10 years. I would not say 25 years. It's still far away, but we have to create the impact. We will participate as an institution with other institutions in the country and work closely with the government and other philanthropic organizations to be able to create an impact in short to medium terms. So these are the things, one for us, as I said, that education will continue as is, keep producing the top students to the country, and the research programs, few of them where we'll be counted in the world, and creating an impact through our technology to solve the problems. And towards that, we already started a center here, Professor Raj Reddy Center for Technology and Society. So we'll be taking up few of those challenges, and very soon you will see the results. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Srini Raju. We surely have a lot to look forward to. Now I'm honored to invite onto stage Professor Raj Reddy, Chairman of IIIT Hyderabad's Governing Council since its very inception in 1998, to please address the gathering.
Good evening. First, I want to welcome our new chairman, Shri Ashok Jhunjhunwala. His accomplishments and his leadership and his track record leave all of us with wonderment how one person could do all those things in a short period of 40 years. We are very fortunate to have him here, and especially when I look at, we had a great grand adventure in the last 25 years. I expect the next 25 years will be even more dramatic, even more breathtaking. And we have the right person at the right place in the right time to lead our institution to the new heights. I see a lot of people in the audience who are not only well-wishers, but actually started this institution. Mr. Chandrasekhar was here earlier, but he had to leave. And Mr. Ajay Sahani ji and Neelam ji are here. And of course, we have former Secretary of IT in Andhra Pradesh and at the center, Satyanarayana, Dr. And more importantly, before he left all of those things, he started here at he created or helped to create a National Institute for Smart Governance, NISG, and it was here on our campus for many years. And so, and then I see several of my friends, Dr. Uday Desai, founding director of IIT Hyderabad, Dr. Satyanarayana, founding director of IIT Tirupati, and many others, Dr. Yagna Narayana, who I've probably known him longer than many of the rest of you. And he was with us at CMU around 1979-80 for several years. And since then, he was at Indian Institute of Science and IIT Madras, but he ended up here at the institute here for the last 10 years or so. And every year he produces 1 or 2 PhDs, which I think is fantastic. I see Sriram Rajamani, who is the head of Microsoft Research in India. I used to know him when he was at Microsoft Research in Redmond and had interactions with him. And I think many of us were very happy when he decided he will move full-time to India to drive the technology and research from here. So there are many others like Rajiv Sangal and Steve Mishra ji and many others I see. And I won't go through all the names, but the important thing is we have so many well-wishers, people that wish us well, and so many people that made this whole institution happen. So we are very fortunate to be at this point after 25 years, because many institutions die, kind of suffer infant mortality and never get past the level. And here is one institution without guaranteed financial support from government that has not only survived and has actually helped to produce one of the top ranked institutions, probably the only top ranked institution outside of top IITs. And it's heartwarming to see that. So where do I see us going for the next 25 years? I think we should wait for Ashok to tell us that. But as I said, there's no end in sight. There's a very interesting book called The Beginning of Infinity, which kind of shares we are at the takeoff point of advances in knowledge and technology that will transform the world, namely. We are probably not more than 100 years away from eliminating all hunger, all deprivation, and but only if politicians will let us do it. So anyway, it's my pleasure to be here, and I'm very happy to be stepping down and happy to hand over to Dr. Ashok Jhunjhunwala. I think we'll have a great next 25 years. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor, for your message and vision of hope. Now we have a special video message to IIIT from global technology leaders around the world. First, a message from Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft.
Hello, and thank you so much for including me in the Silver Jubilee celebration. To all the students, faculty, staff, alumni, and the friends of IIIT Hyderabad, congratulations on this impressive milestone. For 25 years, IIIT has been a leader in IT education and research for India and the world. You've helped thousands of students learn the skills necessary to succeed in our rapidly changing digital economy and have fueled digital transformation and innovation. In fact, more than 800 of your alumni have brought their talents and contributions to Microsoft over the years, and we look forward to welcoming more in the future. As we enter this new era of computing, your work is more relevant than ever. We're in the early days of a generational platform shift as natural language interfaces come together with new reasoning engines to transform every software category. Individuals, organizations, and countries will need to learn new skills to participate and thrive in an AI-driven world, underscoring the importance of your program and curriculum. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the remarkable service of Professor Raj Reddy over the last 25 years. The growth and success of IIIT is a testament to your dedication, vision, and leadership. You have inspired generations of students, faculty, and peers, and your impact will have a ripple effect for years to come. Again, my sincere congratulations on this momentous milestone, and I look forward to our continued partnership and collective impact we will have together in the years ahead. Thank you all so very much.
Next, we have a message from Shantanu Narayan, the CEO of Adobe.
Congratulations to the International Institute of Information Technology on its Silver Jubilee. This is an incredible achievement and a great testament to the institution and the entire faculty in realizing your ambitious vision for a research-led, multidisciplinary institution in Hyderabad. As you know, I grew up in Hyderabad, went to high school and college in Hyderabad, and so it's a matter of great pride in terms of how you have become a role model across the country. As Adobe India marked its 25th anniversary last year, we've had the pleasure of working very closely with IIIT over the years. We welcome many alumni to Adobe. We partnered with faculty over several collaborative projects over that time, and I have been impressed with the caliber as well as the quality of everything we've come to expect in our interactions. I'm sorry that I'm not able to join you in person for this celebration, but I did want to extend my heartfelt congratulations and thanks for the tremendous partnership we've enjoyed over this first quarter century. We look forward to the next 25 years, and I wish the institution, the students, the faculty, and the alumni all the very best. It is a matter of great pride that you are in Hyderabad.
Last, a message from N. Chandrasekharan, Chairman of Tata Sons.
It is my great pleasure to greet all of you on the occasion of the 25th anniversary of IIIT Hyderabad. I would like to congratulate all of you on this defining milestone, particularly to Professor Raj Reddy and Director P.J. Narayanan. IIIT Hyderabad has had enormous success during these 25 years. It has produced some of the finest students, and the institute is focused on all the areas that are important for the future, be it the computer science, artificial intelligence, data science, robotics, intelligent systems, VLSI, and many more. All these areas are areas of the future, and in India, there is going to be a tremendous focus in the development in all these areas. So the institute's role is going to be fundamental in producing the talent, the professionals who will be able to pursue careers in these areas and also provide pioneering research. It is another area where IIIT Hyderabad distinguishes itself, the focus on research. From the very beginning, it has attached a lot of importance to research, and that has laid a very strong foundation for this institute. For me personally, the association with the institute from 2015, when we launched Dr. Kohli's Center for Intelligent Systems, has been a memorable one. I have come to learn more about the institute, and I only appreciate the depth and the focus the institute has in the development of students. I would like to once again congratulate all of you and thank the faculty and the Board of Governors for all the progress the institute has made, and wish you all the very best.
It is now our honor to introduce the Professor Raj Reddy Lecture Series. A globally renowned academic luminary will be invited to IIIT Hyderabad to deliver this lecture and to engage with the researchers and the community in general here at IIIT. For our inaugural lecture of this lecture series, we are honored to have with us Professor Vinton G. Cerf. Dr. Cerf is the Vice President and Chief Internet Evangelist for Google and is very popularly known as one of the fathers of the Internet. It is also our privilege to have him as an advisory member of IIIT's Governing Council since 2015. Dr. Cerf, it is our honor to have you join us today for our celebration.
Well, thank you all very much. I hope I'm audible. Can I get a positive signal that that the audio is coming through? Great, thank you very much. First of all, I think we've got 3 celebrations plus 2 today. The first one, obviously, is this first annual Raj Reddy Lecture, and I am deeply honored to offer that lecture today. It celebrates 25 years of Raj Reddy's chairmanship of the Governing Council. The second obvious anniversary is the 25th anniversary of the institution itself and its founding. And it was quite interesting to hear PJN describe the early days and all the uncertainty that went along with it and the successes which have followed. And finally, I think today we can also celebrate the extraordinary success of the Indian Space Research Organization's landing on the moon. And in fact, in honor of that, my topic today is about the solar system internet, which has been underway since 1998, which means that that project began just as IIIT was beginning its journey. And finally, it turns out that Google was founded in 1998 as well. And so we have, in addition to the celebrations I've mentioned, 2 more to add to the list. So through the magic of technology, I hope I'm going to be able to share my slides with you. Let's see whether I can actually achieve that objective. Here we are. And the theory here is that I can also get this to be full screen. Trying to figure out, oh, here we go. Okay, is the full screen visible? I'm on, and am I still audible? I think I have a problem with audibility. Hold on one.
We can hear you, sir.
Yeah, I was muted. This is a trick of Zoom. When you open up the slide sharing, it also shuts off the microphone on the belief that you have audio in your slide set. Let me try that one more time. There's a tiny little tab that if you don't remember to click it, you won't be able to produce audio. Now I should be audible.
Yes, sir. We can see you. We can see the slides and the sound, sir.
And the slides are visible as well?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Thank you so much. It's amazing when technology works. I don't know about you, but when software works, it's a miracle. So we are now celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Solar System Internet project, which has been underway since 1998. Let me take you back in time briefly to tell you how we got to where we are today. Some of you will remember that in 1976, the Americans landed two Viking landers, Viking 1 and 2, on Mars successfully. And that was a significant accomplishment back then. And then for 20 years, nothing worked. Things missed the planet or crashed into the planet or burned up in the atmosphere. But in 1997, there was a successful landing of the Pathfinder mission and its a small little rover, the Sojourner. And that was so exciting that I flew out to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory where this Pathfinder mission was being managed to meet with the team that was handling communications for that mission, which made use of something called the Deep Space Network, which is a collection of 3 70-meter dishes at 3 different locations on the surface of the Earth: Goldstone, California, Madrid, Spain, and Canberra, Australia. Those 70-meter dishes can reach out all the way deeply into the solar system and beyond. They are used for communication with Voyager 1 and 2, each of which are on the order of 13 or 14 billion miles away from Earth, having started their missions in 1979. So the communications team and I got together. We were looking at the various landers, and at that point, only Sojourner had landed successfully. Others, as you can see, come in the future. And our question was, what should we be doing in 1998 in order to be ready for what is needed 25 years later? And we concluded that we should design and build an interplanetary internet. Then we asked ourselves, could we use the protocols that we had developed for the terrestrial internet, TCP/IP? And we very quickly discovered that it wasn't going to work, partly thanks to the fact that the speed of light is so slow. Unfortunately, Dr. Einstein tells us we can't speed it up. So when you do the math, you discover that the distances between the planets are literally astronomical, and that the round trip times to Mars vary from 7 minutes to 40 minutes, depending on where Mars and Earth are in their respective orbits. I can tell you that TCP flow control does not work very well with a 40-minute round trip time. And there is other problems. For example, DNS lookup. When you type a domain name into a browser, for example, a Google browser or Bing or some of the others, Safari, what happens is the domain name, like www.google.com, has to be transformed into an IP or Internet Protocol address. So you do a lookup and you get an answer back. Well, you can imagine in today's mobile internet on Earth, if you did a lookup of a domain name and you got an answer 40 minutes later, the IP address that you got 40 minutes ago might turn out to be wrong because the object that you're trying to track down has moved in the intervening 40 minutes. So DNS lookup didn't look like it was going to be a very successful function either. And so, we also noticed a couple of other little problems. For example, suppose that you were trying to communicate from Earth to Jupiter, and there was a relay at Mars. In the internet world, it turns out that when you get to a router that says, I can't deliver data to the destination, it throws the data away and tells you that on the presumption that the source can retransmit. And as you know, the delays in the internet, generally speaking, are relatively short, half a second or less. However, getting to Mars, as you can see, might take as much as 20 minutes. It would be sort of foolish to throw away the information that got to the Mars relay station while until the connection to the Jupiter destination is available. So in the interplanetary net, the solar system internet, we actually store content at the nodes until links come back up again, just as a consequence of planetary rotation or other trajectory and celestial motion. So we store information in the network, unlike the internet. And finally, we have another problem. The planets are rotating, and we don't know how to stop that. And so if you're communicating with something on the surface of Mars and Mars is rotating, eventually you can't talk to it until it comes back around again. So what we have in the solar system environment is variable delay and disruption as the normal course of operation. So we concluded that we needed to develop a new delay and disruption tolerant networking concept. And we developed a bundle protocol, which is bundle being a word that sounds a little bit like packet, but it's different so that we distinguish between the internet and the solar system internet. We have delayed name resolution because of the DTN. First find out, because of the DNS lookup problem. First, you figure out which planet you're going to, and then when you get to the planet, you can do a lookup to find out where you're supposed to go further. So it's a two-step process. I mentioned we store information in the network. By the way, those of you who are using diagnostic tools in the internet know about a particular function called ping, which basically just sends a packet to the destination and says, please respond, please echo back. Ping is not your friend in this variable delay environment because you have no idea how long it will be before the ping comes back, especially if it's in a multi-hop environment. And finally, one of the things that we all agreed at the beginning of the project in 1998 is that we didn't want a headline to show up saying 15-year-old takes over MarsNet. So we decided we would build very strong authentication and encryption into the system as a part of the normal practice in the operation of the solar system internet. We have been standardizing the bundle protocol suite for all of this time, working concurrently with the Consultative Committee on Space Data Systems, which is responsible for standardizing space-based communications, and also the Internet Engineering Task Force, in the belief that these protocols may turn out to be useful terrestrially in situations where there's variable delay or disruption in connectivity, which is common in the mobile environment. So the rest of this talk is to give you a sense for where we are today, how we have progressed and what we anticipate in the future. In 2004, some of you will remember that Spirit and Opportunity landed on Mars successfully, another great celebration. But when they were landed, the plan was to transmit data back to Earth directly from the surface of Mars to the Deep Space Network, the big 70-meter dishes, at the blazing speed of 28.5 kilobits a second. And you can know that the scientists were somewhat unhappy about this low data rate, but the distances really do count here because the signal to noise ratio is quite low when you go 235 million miles away. But they turned on the radios and they started to overheat, and that was unexpected. So engineers reduced the duty cycle, which made the scientists even more grumpy because they got even less data back through this direct-to-Earth transmission scheme. one of the engineers at JPL pointed out that there was an X-band radio on the rover, on both of the rovers, and also X-band radios on the orbiters, which had been sent before the rovers landed to map the surface of Mars to figure out where the rover should go. And so it was proposed that we upload the prototype interplanetary software to both the rovers and the orbiters. And we did that in 2004 using what was called the CCSDS file delivery protocol, which is a prototype of the interplanetary bundle protocols. So the system starting in 2004 was delivering scientific data back to Earth in that year. And in subsequent years, all of the other landers on Mars have used a similar relay technique through the orbiters. So that's store and forward networking in the most literal sense. It's been quite an exciting period since 2004. Here you see some of the pictures of the various devices that have been part of this interplanetary communication, including the most recent Perseverance robot rover and its helicopter Ingenuity, which again is another amazing accomplishment. So all of these missions have made use of this store and forward technique. And now I have several slides here that have milestones and events in them. I don't propose to use up your time going through them all. I'm happy to share these slides with you to the extent that you're interested. We have done deep space testing. In particular, they allowed us to upload our bundle protocol suite into the Deep Impact spacecraft that was used in the EPOXI mission. It was about 81 light seconds away from Earth at the time that we did those tests in 2008, 2009, and 2011. There have been other real-time tests done, for example, between 2012 and 2016, in partnership with the European Space Agency. The astronauts on the International Space Station directly controlled a robot in Germany from the space station using the bundle protocols. The reason it was possible to do that, of course, is that the International Space Station isn't very far away from Earth. It's a few hundred miles. The consequence being that the latency is quite low, and the bundle protocols performed well to allow this sort of real-time control. Of course, that wouldn't work between Earth and Mars because of the round-trip time delays. It would be like trying to drive a car with a 20-minute delay before the steering wheel did anything. We've also tested high-speed communications with a spacecraft that was in orbit around the moon that had an optical reflector available on it. We tested lunar communications at 622 megabits a second. So the protocols are good not only for dealing with variable delay, but also for dealing with very high-speed communication. I'm not going to go through too much more of these, except to point out one of the most interesting applications of this delay and disruption tolerant networking in the fourth bullet here. Since 2008, a team in Luleå at the University of Luleå in Sweden has been using delay and disruption tolerant networking to track the reindeer that are managed by the Sami reindeer herders in the Arctic region. They have hanging around their necks devices that have GPS location capability, and they also run a DTN protocol in order to deliver data back. And of course, the information from the reindeer has variable connectivity as they wander around in the forests of northern Sweden. And so this has been quite a powerful test of the flexibility and resilience of the bundle-based protocols. So we've quite an unusual application terrestrially. There is now an Interplanetary Network Special Interest Group, which was founded in 1998 as a chapter of the Internet Society. They have been working on a variety of reports describing issues associated with the creation of the Interplanetary Backbone Network, not only technical issues, but also issues related to policy, where we hope, for example, that the interplanetary solar system internet, like the terrestrial internet, will be a collaboration of governments and private sector operations in order to support manned and robotic space exploration and also commercialization of space. And I'll come back to that topic momentarily. The collaboration goes on between NASA, the European Space Agency, the Japanese Space Agency, the Korean Space Agency. And I must say, I hope that the Indian Space Agency will also become a partner in this operation, especially having demonstrated their capacity to land successfully on the moon. Multiple implementations of the bundle protocol have been built by a number of different parties, some at NASA and some in the private sector, and some at other agencies like ESA in Europe. We anticipate that these new protocols will be available and used in the Artemis mission, which is the American return to the moon, which is being done in collaboration with other space agencies. The Gateway mission is in addition to Artemis, which will allow for a shuttle service basically to and from an orbit around the moon and to the surface of the moon and then back up again. So we have a very active program going on right now in the further development and testing and deployment of these protocols. If you're interested to join us, you can go to ipnsig.org and become a member of the team. In 2026, this is of course not literally how it all works, but these are all missions that are currently in operation or will be in operation in 2026, including the Lunar Network, which will be established in order to support the Artemis mission. So when you're thinking about space travel and space communications as if it were decades in the future, it's not. It's just a few years away. And some of the issues arising are also just a few years away. And so let's talk a little bit about that. There was an outer space treaty that was implemented in 1967 in anticipation that the rest of the solar system should be a kind of protected area, that there would be no claims of territory, that you wouldn't have private ownership or anything like that, but it would be a collaborative effort by humanity on the globe. The Artemis Accords are a refinement of some of those ideas that speak to the possibility of mines on the moon, to the preservation of historic landing sites, such as the 1969 landing on the moon by the Americans. Those various sites are now considered under the Artemis Accords to be protected areas and should not be disturbed. But there will be other sites where other countries will have landed facilities, laboratories, habitats for humans, and so on. And NASA has already initiated a kind of commercialization possibility by offering to the private sector commercial lunar programs or projects that they are encouraged to send to the moon. And so commercialization questions are already on the table for consideration. And this, of course, could include a variety of different things I've listed here. As you see, communications, orbiters, landers, mines on the moon. NASA has offered to purchase the product, the mines on the moon, although they're not paying for the mine itself, they're paying for the product that comes back out. There's some discussion about using small nuclear reactors in order to support longer missions than 14 days, which is typically how long you can run a mission using solar power, because then the moon goes into shadow and you can't run the solar power anymore unless you have enough batteries to recover for a 14-day period. So nuclear reactors may turn out to be the solution to that problem. There are really interesting policy challenges. For example, should there be a notion of private property? Can you own something which is not on the Earth, but on the moon or other planets or asteroids or other moons in the solar system? Where would you register ownership? What if there's a dispute? In what institution do you resolve the dispute? What about crime? I mean, what if somebody attacks your mine or tries to steal your moon dust? Where's the police force on the moon? We don't have answers to any of these questions. What about sovereignty? I mean, we today live in a world whose world structure was organized in 1648 with the treaties that took place in that year that resolved a great many disputes and established the concept of sovereignty of nations within their geopolitical borders. Now, the question is, does sovereignty mean anything in the rest of the solar system? What about things like salvage rules that we have for international waters, where there is no sovereignty in the international parts of the oceans, but we have rules for operation in those parts? What about rendering emergency aid? That is spoken of in both the Outer Space Treaty of '67 and the Artemis Accords in 2023. All of us, in my world anyway, worry a great deal about the militarization of cislunar space. We know that this is already a possible problem. What's the role of the Space Force or other space forces that might come from other countries? How do we deal with the potential contamination of these planets and asteroids, if in fact we wanted to go search for life on those places, like on Mars? So these are just some of the issues that are arising. There are more of them. Here's a bunch of them here that I won't go into, but they're long-term problems that do need to be solved. And so I hope that IIIT, for example, will bend some of its programs not only on the technical side, but also towards the really complex policy side, which is created by technical possibilities, such as the ones that we hope will result in a solar system internet. So I'm going to finish here. I'm happy to answer questions if you have any, but let me reiterate that to those of you who might be interested are more than welcome to join the interplanetary chapter of the Internet Society at ipnstate.org. And once again, congratulations to IIIT for 25 years of successful and increasingly valuable operation. As PJN points out, the best is yet to come. The challenges will come along with them. You have a team which is well prepared to meet those challenges and to accelerate progress at IIIT in Hyderabad. Thank you all very much. And I'll stop sharing the screen and happy to answer questions if there's time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sir, for your lecture and so effectively simplifying what I suppose is the internet equivalent of rocket science so that we can understand so simply. I'm sure most of us are going to go back and read more about this because of your lecture. The floor is now open to just a couple of questions. Please raise your hand and we'll get a mic to you.
Hello.
Hi there, I can hear you.
Thank you for your inspiring lecture. We have a small group which is working on creating smart cities in India, where we try and deploy IoT sensors all across the city. We also have a small group which is looking at the theoretical aspects of connecting these tiny sensors with low Earth orbit satellites. How do you see the future of connecting sensors with direct access to low Earth orbit satellites?
So first of all, I'm quite excited about the low Earth orbiting satellite possibilities that the Starlink system and some of the other LEO systems are offering. That's a significant problem, though, when you're talking about LEOs up at several hundred kilometers and a small IoT device which doesn't have a whole lot of power. It's very hard for the satellite to detect the signal and for the satellite to transmit sufficient energy levels for an IoT device to be directly detected. So what I would suggest is that the example that I gave of the reindeer herders is probably appropriate. The way that works is that there's local communication among the devices that have small radios in them. They communicate with a device which is going to interface to the rest of the delay and disruption tolerant system. And it has the full suite of protocols running there. So the IoT devices might run a local communication mechanism. It could be using Wi-Fi. It could be using some of the low energy Bluetooth, for example. It might use 3G or 4G or 5G or maybe 6G. All of these are potential bearers of the communication, but I would suggest to you that for a lot of those environments, disruption may be common. Or you might have a device that says, I don't have enough power right now. I'm not going to transmit anything until I recharge my battery. So you get disruption as a result. So the DTN protocols the bundle protocol suite in particular might be useful to you. So I would invite you to come to the IPN SIG lectures. We also have a project working group which is actively involved in implementing and testing the DTN protocols terrestrially, and it might very well be applicable to the smart city idea that you have. So I would strongly recommend that. You should also anticipate that there will be ground stations that I think would be situated on Earth with more substantial communication capability to reach up to the low Earth orbiting satellites. So I would gather the IoT communications to one of those ground stations and then use that as the way of getting up and down to the satellites rather than trying to go direct.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Hello? Hello? No. Hello? Thank you very much for a very exciting lecture. Are you able to hear me, Winton?
Yes, I am.
Okay, yeah. See, my question was, suppose in India, we want to set up a lab which wants to do work on, as you said, whatever, solar internet or interplanetary internet. Now, how do we get access to systems, for experimenting our protocols, the physical layers and other things? See, you had access to JPL. Now, for people in India, I mean, even in US, not everybody would have access to JPL.
That's correct, and you don't need to have access to JPL. All of the software, I'm sorry, not all of the software, but much of the software is available on SourceForge. It's open source software. There is a project working group as part of IPN SIG. It's based on the terrestrial internet, but there are something like 30 or 40 nodes available. Anyone who wishes to is free to join the project working group. So access to documentation is available at ipnsig.org. There's a giant library full of material freely available, as well as the open source implementations. So you should have no problem at all, assuming you have access to the internet, the terrestrial internet, to get access to all of that documentation and the software and people who are interested in helping you bring up nodes of the bundle protocol suite.
Thanks.
Sir, I have a question, sir. When would we get to see you physically here in our campus, sir?
That's a very good question. It won't be this year, I'm sorry to say. I have too much travel already on the books, but I have not been in India for way too long. I would like very much to return. And as you know, Google has facilities in a number of important cities in India, including Hyderabad. So that would surely be one of the stops on a Google visit, which would be quite justifiable. And I'd look forward to that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Surf. Now I invite Professor P.J. Narayanan onto the stage to recognize and thank some early members of the IIIT community.
Now is the real time to recognize people who made this institute possible. We have tried to identify those who contributed significantly to the institute. As they say, it takes a village to raise a child. So it must take a whole city or a whole country to raise an institution. So it's not possible to thank everyone who's involved, but we'll try to go through some of the people who contributed. So, from the government, the state government played a big role in in establishing the institution. And some of the people involved, we have heard many stories in the last 2 months. We've been talking to several people to get the story, and we wrote a blog on that and so on, how this came up. But some of the names that came up are the people listed there. They are played in the early years. Then what is that? Changing? Okay. Among faculty, we have 105 faculty, 110 faculty now. So we thought we will specially recognize those who spend at least 15 years. That is 2008 or early, including some of them like Abhijit Mitra. There is retired a few years ago, but he spent long years here. And there are many good things about the longevity of faculty in the institution. Say something about the environment. People who spend many years, and this is listed in alphabetic orders, not to create any divisions between them. And I think Suresh Purini there is the last person who joined in 2008 who made the list. That's not as if those who joined in 2009 haven't contributed much at all, but it's just that we have to go by some number. And at the bottom you see, Professor K.R. Sharma and Professor R.N. Bishwas, who did not spend that much time here physically, but they helped a lot with especially the ECE program, but also many of the other programs. And R&B has been involved with us continuously, even though not here physically. And among, there are 3 or 4 faculty members who contributed much here and passed away in the last, 5 or 6 years, including Keshav Nori and Govinda Rajulu passed away in 2021, I think, and General Bagga a few years before that. The staff members also, there are so many of them who have been here for more than 15 years, and it's my happy task to recognize them. I just have to flip through them. All these are being recorded on your YouTube channel. The YouTube video, you can pause and see their names clearly as I flash past. Okay, that's like 5, 6. And unfortunately, we also had 2 of our members involved with the institution pass away, one due to COVID and one a few years before that. Krishna passed away due to COVID in 2022 and Pani before that. And it is another matter of our satisfaction that the outsourced, now we have a large number of outsourced services, the security, housekeeping, gardening, etc. It's amazing to know so many people, more than 50 or 60 people have been associated with, with this institution for 15 years. So you couldn't even put their photograph. There are too many of them. So I just giving them their names. Okay. And so that's the staff here. And among alumni, of course, there are 6,000 plus alumni today. We are not able to list them, but there are, we went around, we thought we'll recognize a few alumni who have contributed seriously a lot to maintaining the relationship between IIIT and the institution. Special recognition. Of course, there are some of the alumni have been inducted as observers into our governing council, so they are actively involved. So they are kind of excluded from consideration for this particular recognition because they've already been contributing much more. Okay, so ultimately the people involved with the alumni, they recommended 8 names of alumni who have been who are specially who come for special mention to help connect the institute with the alumni body. So Maliha, who all are here? We would like you to stand up and be recognized. And others, I'm told, yeah, there is Maliha. And anybody else from this list is here? I think others are in okay, there. Yeah. So and others are watching, I believe. I think some of them said we will wake up and watch at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or wherever they are. So thank you very much for this. And this comes naturally to the next item, which is one of the announcements for the 25th anniversary is we are establishing alumni awards. All institutions as they grow, they establish awards for, they call it distinguished alumni award or young alumni award, etc. We decided that completing 25 is the right time to start recognizing special contributions of the alumni. So alumni, we are calling it Alumni Achiever Award, and for extraordinary contribution to the profession, whether they are academics, they are professionals in a company, or they are entrepreneurs in startups, etc., or to the society, they're in government, or they work with social organizations, or to the institute itself, they are providing extraordinary service. We will be recognizing them. Today, I'm announcing the establishment of this award. There are no awardees yet. We will have it in the next year. Individuals should be nominated by other alumni or faculty or someone connected with the institution, and there'll be a committee that does the scrutiny, and there'll be a committee that will do the selection. We're working out all the mechanisms. These are, the well-known mechanisms are available at all other institutions, so we can choose the best practice from all of that. We expect to recognize about 5 per year for the next few years. That's not a hard or fast number, neither necessary nor sufficient. If you find more people who have contributed easily, there'll be a committee that will look at their case and recommend to the institute whether, whom all to be recommended. The expectation is 5 per year for the next few years. And we expect, like I said, this is being announced today. We expect to complete the process, and this will be the first set of awardees will be here, and awards will be given September 2nd of 2024, in a year from now, because this is something that we will associate with the Foundation Day, which is today. So that's about alumni awards. Now, what more do we need? We have come this way with help from everybody. No single owner, whether it's a government, whether it is a family foundation or a private foundation. No, so we like to say we are neither a government institution nor a private institution. We are a public institution. The entire society has to support us. So we have been getting all kinds of support. Now is the time we need to grow faster, and we need more funds and resources for that. So we've been asking all quarters to support us, and expansion plans include, of course, doubling the capacity is roughly the point that we are talking about. And we have designed some of the new facilities, or at least the architectural designs are ready for a new academic block and a student recreation and introspection center. And the SRIC has a very, very out of the world design, as you can see there. The architect Pramod Verma is here with us today, witnessing this, so you can give him your views on it. So all these needs, and we also need very soon to have, we need another 1,500 plus capacity hostels, or hostel capacity to be built, not necessarily in 2-3 years, maybe another 500 or 2,000 are required in the next maybe 2 years. The hostel people have been telling me that if you admit the same number of people next year, we'll have to find some other place to accommodate them. Okay. So we have been, the construction that we have envisaging now is about 120 crores for these 2 buildings, and maybe another 50 crores will be required for 1,500, the full capacity hostel. So we are in the process of seeking help from others towards this, and everybody is recommending that we should also have an institute corpus, maybe of 100 crores built over next few years. So all these requires help from every quarter, and we have been reaching out. Alumni have been very helpful, so I would like to first introduce the pledges that we received. I just sent out a few emails. We have been suggesting this to alumni and others. I sent out a few emails in the last maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, connected with the Silver Jubilee. And I'm very happy to announce a pledge of rupees 1 crore by Balamanohar Palluri. It's actually Palluri Trust, managed by Manohar and his wife Ashwini. He's a senior director at Meta, and he was readily agreed to contribute 1 crore. In fact, his parents and his in-laws are here. I request them to stand up and be recognized. Where are they sitting? In the front row there. So these are the parents of Balamanohar and Ashwini. So thank you very much. This means a lot to us. It's also a great beginning of our, alumni giving chapter. He kind of came here a few weeks ago. He was here, he gave a talk, etc. At that point, he said he has some intention. I said, why don't you do it? Announce it quickly so that we can use that as a seed to approach other alumni. So yesterday, I was very happy to have a bunch of students, alumni of the MTech in computer-aided structural engineering. This is a program where we combine computing with structural engineering or civil engineering. It started maybe 2003 or 4. We take about 25 or 30 MTech. 30 is the capacity, end up getting 20 to 25 each year. And they have been discussing among themselves, and a team of representatives came to me yesterday and said, there are 300 or so alumni of this program over the years. They were very actively in touch with 100 of them. They collectively, the batch has committed another 1 crore to the institute over the next 3 years. They will, using multiple individual collection. And my few emails that I sent, I've got probably total commitment or pledge of about 5 crores, including these two. And I'm appealing to all the alumni out there to make September 2023 a very productive month for IIIT Hyderabad, just as September 1998 was a very productive month when classes started here, the institution set out, and all the alumni, the seed to create them started on that day and that month and that year. So please, wherever you are, whatever you do, no contribution is small. Contribute to the extent that you can, but be a continuous giver. And these are the advice we get. Get alumni to contribute early and contribute frequently, rather than wait for one huge contribution from like the ones that I announced. If anybody who can contribute only 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees a year, but make it every year or every month. And that way it'll all add up to the institute. And we also creating a privilege matrix based on what the donations we can have, naming privileges, etc. There is a rough design ready that's also available for those who want it. Previously, our alumni or parents have been supporting us. Our alumni established scholarship fund starting from 2007 or so, when they were just 4 or 5 years out of college. The two special mentions, endowments were established, one in the name of Vedant Kidambi, who unfortunately passed away in an accident while he was a PhD student here. And another in the name of Ritesh Tiwari, who also passed away when he was a PhD student in IIIT Hyderabad. This both happened maybe more than 12 years ago or so. And both families established a corpus here to help one of them is to fund a PhD student in the cognitive science area. That's where Vedant worked. And the other one is to support the best MS thesis award. And I would also like to note that from the US, one of the recognized alumni who was recognized, Vivek Mandava and maybe Vardhaman Jain, couple of them took a great effort and established IIIT Hyderabad Alumni Foundation in the US. It has all the tax exemption status, and all the alumni who want to get tax exemption can donate through that foundation. And through that foundation, so far we have got $60,000 through that foundation in 2 tranches. And Google has a scheme called Google Give. Anybody, all the Google employees can say, I want to donate. And this is Google's money, not your money. I want to donate this much money to one of the charities in that listed there. And through Google Give, we actually got $30,000 just 2 seasons, 2021 and 2022. So these are very, very welcome steps from alumni, and I request all of them to continue that, to accelerate that, and to increase their contribution so that future generations of students will have facilities which are better than what most of you had, because the institute being what it is, it did not have the so-called cutting edge badminton courts and tennis courts, etc. in the early years. Now we are building them slowly, one by one, and the new recreation center will have much more of that. And the future generations deserve much better than what you got, and we need your help. Beyond the alumni, we also have been approaching others, and someone sitting right here on stage, Srini Raju Garu, we have been talking to him for many years. Of course, I always go to him and ask, there is this building, I show him a picture saying Srini Raju building. He doesn't get very excited about such things. He said, no, this idea of naming buildings and so on, this doesn't excite me. What is it that we can do? What is it that I can support that will take institution forward in a very different way? So one of the things that we have been looking at is how to do some initiative. He mentioned some of it here, or he mentioned a core idea here. How do you have initiatives that are strongly rooted in research, but strong impact on the society? How do you find some of these things? This may require PhD students, postdocs. It may require experts coming from wherever in the world and spending time here. It may require or it may facilitate experts sitting in Russia or Berkeley or wherever, Europe, to maintain a group of people here. It may facilitate Windsor from doing some planetary internet work sitting right here. Okay, how do we have that kind of initiative? He said he has pledged right now 5 crores per year for the next 5 years, but his intention is to really expand it so that we can earn it. So thank you, Srini, very much. And we look forward to this taking the institute forward. And we sent a proposal to Telangana government. We also talked to KTR about a year ago about, we have invested quite a bit in quantum computing, invested in the same hiring faculty members. We have a strong team of 6 core faculty members and 2-3 others who are interested in it. And Telangana government, we gave a proposal, and KTR was very positive, and it has to happen. I've been pushing Jayesh Ranjan, who's sitting there now, and Jayesh told me that in principle approval you can announce, and he needs a little bit more detail. It's a government proposal, what to do, how to involve industry, the government is interested in ensuring that the Hyderabad or Telangana ecosystem benefits becomes the best in quantum in the country, and that's what we also want. So there may be a little bit more of detailing required, but thank you, Jayesh, and thank you, Government of Telangana, for the ready support. Again, for anyone else who have access to CSR programs within your institutions, or anyone who wants to help with their own money, the institution, there are many methods available, and I invite anyone with interest in promoting a world-class institution, in helping students, in doing research that are relevant to the country, to the society, to come and partner with us. We will be ready to listen to you and bend, or at least be flexible to your needs, and so that everybody benefits. Okay. And I would also acknowledge the previous CSR support that we have got so far. You would have seen the Kohli building there, and Chandra also mentioned the Kohli Center on Intelligence Systems. So TCS ended up giving more than 50 crores to us. 20 crores were spent, most of it was spent on that building, and rest 33 crores was the second phase was for activities and expenses of the center, and it's been a great help. And you can't get 50 crores so easily. So we really thank TCS Foundation, Chandra, Ram Dore, and others who worked very hard to make it happen. And apart from that, when we started a special program to get students from rural and probably diverse backgrounds, and who needed full support, ready support came from 2 institutions. One is a company called CGI, who actually called us and said, we wanted to do something, CSR funds available with you, etc. And they ended up taking entire batch of students, like 15 plus 15 or so students through the 4 years of their study. The really needy student, that is CGI. AT&T came by and supported another batch of students next year. The following year, I think about 1 crore was given. So these are CSR support for the institute. Apart from that, there has been a lot of support for our research, for partnering with research, like Intel has been a ready partner. In fact, Intel has said any amount of money, big money you raise for applied research from the government, 20% they will match. They'll add 20% of that to that PT. They've ended up funding us 5 to 6 crores for some of the transportation activities and the India driving data set. Some of the healthcare activities have been made possible by that. And there are many other, there's a Ripple who came and gave us $1 million. I hope this is $1 billion. My Freudian slip they should listen. Ripple should listen to it. The $1 million center they set up here to promote our blockchain and distributed ledger technologies here, and many other, maybe 1 crore 50 lakh projects from industry have come. So these all help the institute activity and push us forward. So that's the end of my session on thanking a few people or few entities that helped us reach where we are. I'm sure we have missed some people. That's my fault. Please apologize me for if some of you have been missed, some of the contributions have been missed. We really tried hard to connect to everybody who had a role to play in building the institution, wrote to them, invited them, and tried to put those, with some formula up here. So I invite all of you to join me in thanking everybody, the faculty, the staff, the GC members, the alumni, the parents. There are a few parents who came here when I invited, Raj Reddy talked about Sriram Rajamani. I don't know any Sriram Rajamani who hates MSR, but I know Sriram Rajamani who's the father of one of our students. And there is one Rajiv sitting here who's also a father of one of our alumni. He also, I think he also heads Microsoft, some division here next door. So that's the strength also, having such, people who the parents who are supporting us. And there's Mr. Vatsal Vaishnav. He's a student, he's parent of a second year student. Last year, I was going to Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar for a conference. I don't know how he found that. He wrote to me saying, sir, you are coming. There are like 5-6 parents of last year students. We would like to meet you. He picked me up from the airport. We went to some place. We had 3 hours of conversation on what we can do and what should do. And I invited him today, and he's here all the way from Ahmedabad to help us. I'm sure there are many others here like that. So these are the people who give us strength to go forward. So I thank you all, and I request all of you to join me in thanking them all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor. Now we enter the formal part of today's evening, which is the solemn signing ceremony, where Professor Raj Reddy will hand over the chairmanship of the Governing Council over to Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala. I now invite the new chairman of the Governing Council of IIIT Hyderabad, Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala, to please address the gathering.
I remember in 97, 98, when I first heard about the plans to set up this institute. This institute is very different from rest of the top institutes in the country. Not funded by the government. Yes, Telangana government, Andhra Pradesh government has given land. That is certainly most welcome. but not funded by the government, not funded by any specific industry, not even widely funded by industry. Looked like a very, very difficult task. But I remember multiple things. I saw some of the government secretaries very excited. Ajay is here, Chandrasekhar was here a little bit earlier. I remember Chandrababu Naidu talking about it, that time Chief Minister. I sort of said, well, there is some intention, but it was also clear that they're not going to fund it. Of course, Rajiv Sangal is the person who met me, and he was determined that something like this can be done. Time has come to set up IT Institute, the first triple IT institute. IITs were well known, highly funded by government. There are other institutions funded by some large industrial houses. This was not like that. One still had a little worry. And then somewhere Raj Reddy was roped in. And I sort of said, well, now things can begin. We really can do this. I remember visiting this area. It's practically nothing in this area. I don't remember think there was any IT high-tech city. There was no financial district. It was, I think, University of Hyderabad was there a little further down, and then this institute. It used to take a long time for you to come here from the station or other places. So in some sense, as far as I am concerned, who do not come to Hyderabad very often, this is the foundation of both your high-tech city and financial district. And I think the way Hyderabad has really transformed this institute in the middle of this place has really played a very important role. I don't think you would have got such a strong interest first from IT industry without very high quality graduates coming from here. And very high quality, just somebody had mentioned 800 people joined Google. Yeah, that Microsoft, and not something small. So I think this has played a very, very important role. And it has done phenomenally well. Last 25 years, whatever you see, on every aspect, it has done very well. Therefore, it's going to be a very, very tough challenge for me to take it forward. And yet I agreed, because I think the country is moving very fast. And because the country is moving, this institute represents a different model. There are some other triple ITs have been set up somewhat like this, except that government has given some initial support. The good part about this place is that, yes, land has been given. There has been no control from government. I think Ajay spent considerable time, but then left it. And I don't think that any politician or any secretary tells the institute what to do. That's not so, Raju, though even you tried, there are the other IITs, triple ITs will have that. That's not so. That independence is not there. And I think creating independent institution is very, very important. This is one of the very, very few independent institutions where there is no BIBAP. No, if I use the crude term, no BIBAP. And I think this is a very unique model, going to play a very important role. So where are we going to take it from here? Well, as I told you, I came yesterday and just trying to figure out. I have really no clue. Trying to understand what can one do. All I can say is that yes, yesterday he told the chairman told that we got the 65 acres, valued some 900 plus crores, and now it's in the middle of the city. And I don't think that you're going to get more land. So if you're going to grow, you need to somewhat rebuild this institute. You need to build high. And this time I'm simply saying high from the height. That's the only thing that makes sense. and it has to double. It has to, from 2000, it has to come close to 5,000 students. From 110 faculty, it has to get to closer to 300 faculty, maybe with some part-time faculty, to be able to make the impact that it needs to do. The other thing that I can sort of say, that it needs to connect itself far more to the industries in this area, whether it is in high-tech city or financial district. I think particularly the computers, IT plays equally important in both these areas. So it needs to connect much better. Leverage this. How? We'll figure it out. I know number of faculty members, so I'll say we are in academia and not in the industry, but the industry is here. They benefit from you. Let's see how we can work together. As I pointed out, India is moving very rapidly forward. And the strength comes from the youngsters. The young people, I'd say around 20-year-old. Actually, by the way, India's peak population today is at 19-year-old, 19 or 20. Next year, it will be 20 year. Below 19 year, the population keeps on decreasing. Above that, it's decreasing. So over the next 10 years, I can sort of see, this will be a very, very important role. There will be a large number of people. And this institute need to connect with them. Of course, directly as students, as well as to many other youngsters who are not necessarily students from IIIT, but from other institutions in the country. Some way one has to connect, because this youth. We have watched this youth. If you put a little bit of spark in this youth, if you do a little bit of hand-holding, these youth are probably better than anyone. At least we have not even imagined, and we have not seen some people like them. They can really make impossible possible. I thought this institute represents that slogan, impossible is possible. And I strongly believe that this can play a very important role in the country in next 10 years, 25 years, 50 years, as it grows up. And I think we need to push it in that direction. I want to again also point out to one more thing that I have mentioned. Yesterday, I happened to watch the cultural program that some students and faculty had put together out here. I don't know how many of you did, but it was one of the most fascinating programs. I unfortunately could watch it for a short time because they were back-to-back meetings, and it actually connected. This was a cultural program, but it actually was talking about this institute. It was talking about the values that this institute stands for. It was talking about, it was a very nice song and dance and connected to Indian culture, talking about what a place of education should be for a youngster. It started with a banyan tree and birds on the banyan tree. This institute being the banyan tree and birds being these young students who come here. It talked about them. It found all kinds of students. On students, some bird right from the beginning was saying, I've come here to gather whatever knowledge I can get and then fly away. Fly away somewhere in distant land where I can excel. Some others felt differently. There was this beautiful Doha of Kabir. Pothi pad pad jug gaya, Pandit bhayo na koi. It was sung for about 7 to 8 minutes in a beautiful voice. And essentially, a village woman kind of teaching these young birds that education is far more than, and it was like the spirit of IIIT teaching these youngsters that education is far more than getting some skills and running away. In fact, the contradictions was put right in the front of everyone, where there was another bird which was asking, which felt that I'm not as strong, and it was asking help from someone else. Will you help me? Go through this path, traverse this path. And this strong bird who wanted to just get as much and fly away says, well, I don't know, maybe if I can get some time, my goal is that. If I can, I may do that. And immediately the songs and the dance contradicted. Says, this is not knowledge. This is not learning. Learning is about people getting together and moving forward. I think this is the strong spirit somewhere embedded in this institute, probably not there in other institutes. In the morning or yesterday, when our chairman was talking about that, how when he went to Carnegie Mellon, unlike Stanford University, he found these 3 Nobel laureates, but they're not working in silos with their own group. They're working together to try to build the institute and build the youngsters and build the whole maybe society. And I think that is the spirit that this institution seemed to have got. This is something, my first impression over the last day and a half. And I believe that that is the spirit with which we need to take this institute forward. This is the spirit with which we need to take this country forward and the whole world forward. And I hope I'm able to help in that process. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor, for giving us an insight into what your vision for the next 25 years is. As Professor PJN spoke about in his address, there is a lot of exciting new infrastructure that's coming up on our campus. So we now have a video providing us glimpses of this infrastructure that will prepare us for the next 25 years. Please enjoy. Shortly, we will be welcoming reflections from some of you present here with our open mic session. But before that, we have a short video on and by Professor Raj Reddy. Please enjoy.
So what was your motivation when you were in your 20s, 30s, and 40s?
In 20s, I was clueless. And so when I was 30, I got married just then. And I was clueless again about how to be a good father, a good husband, and so on. 40 was the time, where 43, 44, where we started the Robotics Institute. And then I was also head of the French Centre Montreal. So I said, they wanted me to move there full time. I said, I just started the Robotics Institute, I can't move there. So I agreed, I'll go there once a month for a whole week.
So who were your role models then, and who are your role models now?
The main role models were at Stanford and at Carnegie Mellon, John McCarthy and Alan Knoll and Herb Simon at Stanford. They were kind of, you looked up to them.
Any disappointments in life, and what are the learnings from them?
I have no disappointments in my technical life, but I have, disappointments in my personal life, right? Because I was so busy from the time we got married and I was a PhD student till now, I never spent enough time with my family and my wife and children. So in retrospect, with somebody had given me some proper advice about how to be a good husband, how to be a good father, and how to be a good son, and so on, I would have kind of devoted some more time, or what they call quality time, to the family.
How do you motivate people to move mountains and make it happen?
You need to give them the confidence it can be done.
What is it that keeps you awake at night now? Is it any burning problem that you want to solve? Do you still have that?
I do have burning problems, but as usual, they're all just beyond the reach. And in order to go make it happen, I have to kind of build a team. For example, today, the United Nations has things called Sustainable Development Goals: food security, water security, energy security, shelter, and health, and education, and so on. I think this is a solvable problem. Food, let's take food, water.
The full video will be uploaded very shortly on the IIIT YouTube channel, so I encourage each of you to definitely check it out. Now we invite reflections from the audience, and I hand over the mic to Professor Ramesh Loganathan to please moderate.
Thank you, Nanda. So, sir, I was going to get to you first, sir. Quickly, sir, your thoughts before you leave. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I'm actually going to get to you first. So your thoughts, sir. I mean, like, you've been involved with the institute, from even before the institute actually started, right? You're in the government at the time. So your thoughts on like those early days in 97, 98 and what it is now?
Thank you, Ramesh. And really, it's a great privilege to be here on this occasion. I was here on the day it was inaugurated 25 years ago. And again, I'm here today. It's really very satisfying. In addition, as Professor has mentioned, I worked every single day out of these premises for 5 years as a CEO of the National Institute for Smart Governance. So that's why my affinity to this institution and this place is really very deep and long. I think when it was actually started, I think Ajay and I were worked together in the same department. He was special officer and OSD. We thought it will do great because we had a lot of confidence in Professor Raj Reddy's, vision and also the political leadership that gave a lot of importance to this. But I think it has gone beyond what we had dreamt of at that stage. And I think the full compliments to the entire leadership and the governance team, besides the faculty, which made it really big. So I'm extremely happy. I think going forward, and it's already doing like artificial intelligence, what are the exponential technologies? What are the emerging technologies? The world is moving from IT to ET, they say. From IT to exponential technologies. IT to ET is the transition happening. Very soon, I think in the next 5 years, the goal should be rename the institution as Exponential Technology, International Institute of Exponential Technologies. Because it's not the first time that the name change has happened. We had a problem, in our secretary and also on the board, governing board, because Indian Institute of Information Technology originally, but it was not legally permitted. Government of India objected. No, you can't have Indian because you are a private institution. So we had a very clever, IIIT was already hard-coded into minds of the people. Then we said how to solve the problem. So I think it's Professor Raj Reddy suggested, I called him in the US and he said, simple, instead of Indian, you call it international. Apart from the the lighter part of it, but more seriously, really, that dream of being an international institute. Today we have seen, Professor Dr. Vince also mentioned it so nicely. So it has gone global, international, really true to its name. And I'm sure that, in the years to come, it will really much greater heights it will climb. All the best. Thank you. I need to leave at this point because I have another event to attend to. And my personal thanks to Professor Raj Reddy for really making this happen. And I'm sure Professor Jinwal also, I have been a good old friend of his, and in his safe hands, I think it will grow much bigger. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Good, I caught you just before we missed you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Ma'am, don't mean to put you on the spot, but we have to hear from you, ma'am. You've been coming to our campus for a long time. Just about us. You can just talk about us, your memories from the first time you were here.
When I first came here, it was like a forest. It was beautiful. But I said, Raj, are you sure you want to do this? But he was determined. And I've learned over the years that you can't dissuade him. So to PJ Narayan and Ashok Jindwala, you might be thinking that we're going away, but secretly we have an apartment here. Also, I'm very involved in a committee called the Beautification Committee. And so I'm very attached to those kids and I'm coming back. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Most welcome. Sir, you're one of the few directors of IITs that come here very often. Professor Desai was here, he had some commitment, he just left. Is your thoughts, sir, from early days of IIIT and now?
Thank you. See, I'm really, you want me to come there?
Please come here.
Okay,
The online people will be able to see you, otherwise they'll see your back.
okay. Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for having me here. PJ sent me a message 2 days back saying with having this event, please come. It so happened I was in Hyderabad today, so glad to be part of this momentous occasion. But I keep citing how an institution in the private, completely private, how it's thrived. And I'm a strong believer that the education ecosystem requires institutions from all sectors, from the centrally funded institutions to which I belong, from the state funded institutions and the private institutions. In fact, in a lot of forums when funding happens and so on, and there's always a push that you should give the money to the IITs and so on, I keep telling that the whole ecosystem has to be nurtured. Everyone has its role. And IIIT Hyderabad set a benchmark for everyone to really look up to and, take it to that particular level. And I'm very happy, of course, Professor Raj Reddy has really steered this really well. And we were fortunate to have him in our campus a few months back. And I'm very happy the baton is being passed on to my good friend and mentor and Professor Junjunwala. And I'm sure it's in such safe hands. And this institution will climb to great heights. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, sir. That's Professor Satyanarayana, Director of IIT Tirupati. Ma'am, Mrs. Raj Reddy, and the first person who spoke, many of you may not know, he's a very quiet behind the scenes person, was J. Satyanarayana Garu. The man behind was chairperson for UID Authority for a long time in its early years, and many, many other things. Sir, you've been involved also with the institute, sir, from the early days when you were the SCPA director. So you're going to
I have to come there. Thank you. First of all, hearty congratulations to the entire team of IIIT Hyderabad. In fact, those days I was promoting IT industry in Hyderabad. One day, Honorable, the then Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu asked me one of the review meetings, whatever you asked me, I made it happen. But still, why good companies are not coming to Hyderabad? I said, sir, we don't have any premier institutions, no IIT, no IIM. So because of that, quality manpower is not available. Then he said, what is that we have to do? Sir, we have to create one institution of excellence on the lines of IIT, but focused on IT. Those days, there was no IT secretary in government of Andhra Pradesh. He called Bale Rao, who was the educational principal secretary education. And he also called Ramalinga Raju. Why don't you three people discuss and come out with a plan? So that day evening, myself, Ramalinga Raju and Bale Rao, we sat in one of the Satcham's campuses. And then I went to the drawing board and drew that the name of IIIT, that time Indian Institute of Information Technology, with all the schools of excellence. Then everybody liked that model. So next day morning, we met Honorable Chief Minister. We said, this model is workable. Then he said, so wherever you want to set up, I'll give 200 acres and you go ahead and implement. I'll tell you, sir. So then I told Honorable Chief Minister, sir, we don't have time. As it is, we are not able to attract any manpower to Hyderabad. When you are going to give the land, when we are going to construct, by the time all Punyakalam will be over, then what is that your proposal? Sir, give us some building, some existing building somewhere. We'll start the IIIT Hyderabad. Then that time PC Parak was the industry principal secretary. He called PC Parak. Parak, you go along with Chowdhury. You show him all the government buildings in and around Hyderabad, Secunderabad. Whatever building he likes, we will give that building to IIIT. So he took me to Secunderabad, took me to all the places. Then we came onto this road. We saw some structure was coming up. Then said, why don't we go inside? Then when came inside, only a shell was there. No interiors were there. And there is enough land, about 65 acres. They said this is ideal because the internal interiors can be changed. Then immediately we went back to the Chief Minister, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu. Sir, we identified a building, and also it's closer to high-tech city. Because IT related activities, high-tech city is not far away from this location, and also other University of Hyderabad also nearby. So ideal place for setting up the IIIT. Then immediately this building was meant for collectorate office for Rangareddy district collectorate. So he called the then collectorate district collector of Rangareddy district. I'll give you another land where you can build the buildings for your offices. Give this land to IIIT Hyderabad. That's how IIIT Hyderabad got formed. Only my unfortunate thing, though, I thought, having the centers of excellence by IBM, Microsoft, Motorola, Oracle, and Metamor, I thought they will participate in the research. But many of them, instead of participating in the research, they became like Amirpet Training Center ++. So that did not, whatever my vision, that by having the center of excellence of those corporate schools, they will participate in the research. But sir, that did not happen. That's the reason why that model got abandoned. But in spite of all the issues, I think IIIT Hyderabad, in fact, sir, our first chip in Portal Player, all the engineers we recruited from IIIT, they built a Portal Player chip, which went into Apple's iPod. So I really want to thank IIIT for contribution. Thank you.
135 acres of.
Now you should ask the present Chief Minister KCR will give that remaining 135 acres.
We just do couple more. I mean, just trying to get to government officers that are all involved. Ajay sir, you were on the board for some time also, given that 2 secretaries are ex officio on our board, of course, many years back. But you're a very, very warm, very good friend for the institute, sir. Your thoughts, sir?
Thank you, Ramesh. First of all, I didn't come here even imagining that I'll have to speak. I was associated with IIIT as a governing board member. By that time, it was already established. It was well known in the country. That is about 10 years back. I'm not an engineer. I'm not from science background. I was secretary higher education here. When I used to come here for meetings, my purpose was very clear. Whatever I understood about IT, technology, etc., how I can take it back to institutes like JNTU, which were universities then, and how it can be implemented there. I don't think I succeeded much in that, very frankly, but I made that effort. Second thing which I attempted was on the human values education, which I got from here, courtesy Professor Sengalji. That was not related to technology, but I happened to be here in one of the workshops which was organized, and I got the idea. And the human values education 10 years back was introduced in a very fast-forward manner in many technical institutes and arts colleges. So with that, the way it has grown, I'm really like as a non-science, the things which I hear. One point which was mentioned, I will repeat, that there's a quota for, what is it? Management quota. One of my friends here, when I was here as a board member, he asked me, why don't you try for me for board member, governing this management quota seat. So then I had to, after talking to the management here, I had to give him very clear answer. Last 15 years, even CM has not been able to get one seat. After talking to the directors and others. So that set the things right. And I want to congratulate the few, like Professor Sengalji, with whom I was associated, Professor PJN, with whom I keep on meeting, and not to see this thing, Professor Raj Reddy, who is like an inspiration, even though I'm not from the technology field. And I wish all the best for the next 25 years. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, you were the first, administrative head of the institute. Of course, you had a role in starting the institute also, but you also ran the institute for the first few years. And from what I've heard from you and others, you had a regular day job with other responsibilities, and this was your evening, another day of work in the evenings. You would come here. Your thoughts, sir?
Thank you. I'm so delighted to be here on completion of 25 years. My journey with this institution had started sometime in 97 when the concept started taking shape that we need a premier institution in Hyderabad, because we had dreams of giving serious competition to Bangalore and various other cities. We actually didn't count other cities, but we always saw Bangalore as the one that we have to compete with. And in 98, I was sort of enticed back by Mr. R. Chandrasekhar, saying there's something very interesting that needs to be done here. Come back from Government of India, come back here. I came in and found that, this triple IT idea has taken a good root, and it started on 25th of April. I remember 9th May. We had a huge meeting and, industry meeting. I think that was foundation stone of the high-tech city. And then, or some event related to high-tech city. There was a presentation in Krishna Oberoi. NASSCOM made that presentation about the model. EDSIL had done, NASSCOM and EDSIL had created the model. The EDSIL is Educational Consultants of India, Dr. Yajlu Meduri. And with that, this concept was given some shape, the schools of excellence, and then a university or an high quality educational institution, nestled among schools of excellence. And IBM, Oracle, Microsoft, Satyam at that time, and Metamor, these were the 5 initial entities. Later on, Motorola also joined in. And then by around 12th or 13th of May, I think there was a major decision to be made. This was the year 1998. And the decision was, when do we start the institution? And a very dramatic kind of a decision was made that we'll start this year. This is around 13th or 14th of May. And we have to start in this academic year. And I was the midwife to deliver. The government and the ecosystem is pregnant with this idea, and I have to deliver the institution and get the classes started in this academic year. Because the coming year would have been elections. And we didn't know, we needed to start and get it to a safe stage so that the idea doesn't sort of roll back in that period. So from May, it was so fortuitous that I found all the stars aligned. Professor Sangal, IIT Kanpur professor, 17 years, one of the doyens of research, was found I found him in University of Hyderabad, in handling language technology research in University of Hyderabad, because University of Hyderabad had a very good linguistics team. Professor Govind Rajlu, one of the finest professors in computer science, head of computer science in Warangal. He was in IBM School of Excellence here. And Professor Kaul, having retired somewhere else, IIT Kharagpur, a Kashmir person, settling down here. So we found everyone sort of, everything happening to make it happen. And we actually conducted an entrance exam in the month of June, announced the results, a nationwide entrance exam, 4 centers here, 15 centers across the country. And we selected 50 students. and we were not a university, we were not a recognized college, we were an institution with a great dream. So we went initially to the joint entrance exam system. We just made a query, knowing that there is no chance. We said, can we take students from the joint entrance exam? So they gave us some 20 different reasons, as to why it simply cannot be even thought of. And in any case, it was very late in the day. So at that stage, I remember saying, and this sticks to my mind, I have mentioned it earlier, that this institution may be an infant, but it is a royal infant. It will grow to be the king. So don't look at us this way. This may be an infant, but it's a royal infant and it'll grow to be the king. And I think it's moving in that direction. Professor Sangal and I spent countless evenings and in sort of late evenings dreaming up what it needs to be, with the experience of what has happened in IITs and other institutions. Because this institution was not just conceptualized for education. It was conceptualized to be the Stanford of our to-be Silicon Valley. It was conceptualized as the MIT of the sort of what happened around that area, Route 128 and others. So it had to start with undergraduate program, because I had a deep belief that without an undergraduate program, you cannot get the finest of students. And it had to have research as well. So we had to do two things which sort of IISc at that point represented the finest in research, and IITs represented the finest in technology education. We had to marry those two ideas, and in an institution which is just sort of a fledgling institution. So I think and then we had the limitation of its being a computer science focused institution, limitation and strength. So as to how do you compete with the established ecosystem? How do you because to compete with MIT, your aspiration is, your eyes are set on MIT, CMU and Stanford. How do you grow that in wilderness or in a place which is as a startup institution? So I think it's a wonderful journey. We were able to build a lot of concepts and models. The concept which has maybe sort of retarded its progress to a little extent, that we should keep it independent of government. This is not, Professor Satyanarayana, it is not a private institution. It is not a government institution. It is a public institution. And I believe that that's a very important concept. So keeping it independent, it has more flexibility, more autonomy than any other institution I know of. That we must keep it autonomous, because that is what will not place any cap on what heights it can go to. So that's what we started with. I think we took advantage of its being a computer science institution, because we could start with computer science on day one. In IITs, the limitation was that they start with breadth and then they go to depth. Professor Sangal narrated, a dream that needed to be set for the institution. That, what if a student comes in with the dream of building a rocket? He said, if that happens in Kanpur or in any of the other very well-established institutions, the professors will say, first you do your maths, physics, chemistry and everything. And then third year you'll come to the department, then we'll talk about it. By third year, the boy has forgotten that he had that dream. So Professor Raj Reddy in very early period actually told us about Dr. Edwin Land and the dream he set for MIT, that not just to produce high quality engineers. How do you produce greatness? How do you produce the chance to be great, not just highly competent? I think those are some of the ideas that have shaped this. This was a lecture, I think, given by Dr. Edwin Land in MIT in 1956 or some long, I don't remember exactly, but these are some of the concepts that went into shaping this institution. I think it has come up. It's a huge work that has been done. It's a extremely strong foundation. And now it's time to take off into like our Chandrayaan. It was, some people criticized it for being a little slow because it sort of catapulted to be the sort of most efficient, low energy way of getting to the moon. I think we have probably taken a very similar route. It's time to get catapulted into a very different orbit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I think we've had amazing support through the years, sir, especially from the government officers. We'll just listen to Jayesh sir just in a bit. He's on a phone call outside, ma'am. We want to get your inputs. You have an outsider's view, ma'am. You are yourself an extremely senior officer in the government, been in the government all through. Your view from but you haven't been inside ever. Your view, ma'am, from the outside.
Anyway, first of all, I'd like to congratulate everybody here because of the celebrations of the 25th year and the way this institution has shaped up. My link to this and my linkage to this institution is, of course, through my husband. He is, he's been so closely attached to this institution that I think I'm quite aware of every little work that was done over here to shape up this institution. And you must have got a feel of it from what he has spoken today, from what he has always spoken about it, and what he spoke even yesterday. So the fact that the institution has come up to this stage and this level has been due to the contribution of so many of the people over here. But I think I'd like to mention one thing, that I think it catered to the need of the people over here in Andhra Pradesh. And the fact that, it has, there have been 6,000 alumni, that's what I have heard. I think each one of them, the way they're going to be, they have been contributing, and the way they will contribute to the society, I think it's going to be it's already, they have shown that it's been very amazing, and it's going to be even more amazing as the times come. Whenever I see, it's not just this triple IT, and let me tell you, it's the whole IT ecosystem which has been set up in Hyderabad. Whenever I see anybody, whether it's you or the people here or the students here or an IT employee or anybody else who's working in Hyderabad, I'm quite aware of what all has been done and what work went through to see that Hyderabad comes up to this institute, to this level. And in fact, whenever we talk with our friends or with our colleagues, I always tell them that Hyderabad is on a completely different trajectory of growth and development. And I think this institution, along with all the work which was done to build it as an IT city, has contributed to coming up to this stage. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll have the last word from Jayesh, sir. But there's a special recognition. I mean, we have a lot of friends in the industry. Many of them are here, and we had a special celebration for the industry leaders. This room was filled. I've never seen that many leaders. About 25 kind of country heads of tech companies were in the room that day. And at least 100, 150 leaders from different companies were here in the room when we celebrated the Corporate Founders Day about a month back. But today, many of the leaders have come. And one company, of course, all companies are very special. but one company has been involved from the beginning and also been very engaged all through has been Microsoft. They're probably one of the largest employers also of Alalam. And now I request Rajiv, who heads, PJ was joking about something he does in Microsoft, but he's a parent. We know him more as a parent, but there's something that he does in Microsoft. He's a long time product leader in Microsoft and runs Microsoft IDC now. So Rajiv, please.
No, thank you. Shriram? Yeah, we'll call him, we'll invite Shriram also. So I just want to first say thank you, Ian sir, to invite me and Shriram for this amazing milestone. I'll say this really is a tale of two great institutions, because India Development Center started in 1998, just few weeks before IIIT. And it's just been an amazing journey because they both, I think we both need each other in some sense. 800 or the 800 was a conservative number. And when I found out 6,000, that's almost like 15% of the class from here graduates and goes to Microsoft. So thank you for creating this world-class leaders, world-class technologists, and we are beneficiary of that. In fact, is the other way around also. Like there's a lot of research that we do, and Shriram is the leader and corporate vice president for Microsoft Research. His team works with a lot of the professors here. In fact, I remember two instances in the last 20 years I've been here, coming here. There was one time when Satya was visiting, and I think Jawahar sir had just done the research to do the sports basic commentary by looking at the video. The computer could actually do the sports, and Satya called me that evening saying, wow, that's something. Like, do you know him? I said, I don't think so. But anyway, we met after that, and that led to some other discussion. And in the end, we did some research on visual or vision and images and video. So it's just, what I'm trying to say is that it is a symbiotic relationship for last 25 years. So thank you to the institution. And what we wanted to do today is honor the institute with our award of technical excellence. So I'll also invite Shriram to come over and to hand over the medal. All right, we have specially designed this with IDC. And it says, it has both the logos. Shriram, you want to come? Maybe you all should come because we all are part of this. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks, Ram, and thank you once again. And congratulations to the students, the faculty, and the staff, and everybody for this amazing journey. I don't think we could have grown as much as we did without an institution next door, actually. So thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rajiv and Shriram. Thanks, amazing gesture. Just to close out, Sir Jayesh, sir, we thought the last word should be yours. Like I was just telling when you were stepped out, that through the years, we've had amazing support from the government, especially the officers in the government, because they're the most connected with us. Of course, the government leadership also on the political side, the IT minister successively, especially our minister now. But I think their support from the officers has been phenomenal. And you must be the longest serving board member now, sir, from the government side. Almost 7 years now. Sir, your final words. Huh? Okay, I'm sorry, I stand corrected. I was right on one part, the longest serving government officer on our board, and 8.5 years. Sir, your thoughts, sir. Last words.
No, I would just like to congratulate IIIT for the most valuable contribution it has made in enriching our tech landscape, not just for Telangana, but for this country, for the world. I also would like to welcome on behalf of the government, Professor Jhunjhunwala. Also want to express my gratitude for Professor Raj Reddy for his stewardship, leadership. Not many people know this, but apart from this IIIT, he has created 3 other IIITs also. These are rural IIITs. 2 are now in Andhra Pradesh, 1 is in Telangana. And that one itself is also a kind of a role model institution on what it can do to make the dreams of literally thousands of underprivileged children a reality year after year. So government has been associated with various projects and programs in IIIT. And I'm happy that we have extended our support to the newest center, the Center on Quantum Sciences and Technology. This is perhaps the emerging technology which the exponential technology which Satyanarayana sir spoke about. This could be one of the important components for that. And I wish the institution and the new center, all the faculty members, alumni and student, all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It's very apt last word as we conclude today's celebration. Thanks to the whole lot of people are involved. And like PJ said, it's not over yet. It's just one of the celebrations in our 15 to 18 month long set of celebrations. There's a lot happening in the next month, especially. So thanks to the whole team, this team of faculty, a lot of students involved, and of course, the leadership of the institute itself. And Srini Garu has been from the board side also very, very involved with a lot of the work happening around Silver Jubilee. And so thanks. And please, we have high tea served right outside. You just step out and walk into the Kohli block. And please join us for high tea. And thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. And thanks for all the support from everybody, the whole ecosystem, the industry, academia, and government. Thank you. Just walk from the back. The high tea is in the corridor on the back side.